Let's talk about this massive drama unfolding around Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, because it's getting intense. With new details dropping constantly, it's looking pretty bad for Blake. The whole thing started with Justin Baldoni, who apparently found this book, secured the rights, and really worked hard to bring it to life as a film. But somehow, Blake Lively ended up making all the executive decisions, calling the shots at every turn. Now, with some newly leaked footage, it seems like what everyone suspected is true. She allegedly took control of the film in a way that wasn't exactly above board. Justin's lawyer, Brian Fredman, is practically celebrating at this point. You'd think they'd already won the case, and honestly, with this new material, it's looking like they might. This footage could be the exact proof needed to show that Blake overstepped, taking control of the film from Justin. With each new detail emerging, the situation is only worsening for Blake. After the first hearing, Brian Fredman went straight to the press, ignoring the judge's warning for both sides to stay quiet. Justin's team is ready to move fast and clear his name, and Brian has cautioned the public not to jump to conclusions, noting that more evidence is still being released. Meanwhile, Blake's legal team seems to act as if they've already scored a win, just because the judge reminded both sides to play fair. The reality is very different. Blake attempted to secure a gag order to silence Justin's team, and she lost. Then she refused to be deposed, and that effort failed too. Now, Brian Fredman will get to question her under oath, meaning any attempt to hide the truth could be exposed. Things get even more intense as old clips resurface, and they are not flattering. One video shows Blake openly admitting to sharing a rough cut of the film despite Sony's explicit instructions. The studio had allowed only 20 minutes of the cut to be shown, but her main character energy took over, and she reportedly showed the entire thing. Her tone in the video is alarming. She laughs it off, treating it as if no one would care. But if she's referring to Sony, this is a major problem. Even if she meant the audience, it still raises serious questions about her judgment and control over the project. And throughout all this, one crucial question remains: where was Justin in all of it? As the footage and revelations continue to circulate, public opinion seems increasingly skeptical of Blake's actions, leaving her legal team scrambling while Justin's credibility grows stronger with each new detail. People are really starting to connect the dots, and it's not looking good for Blake. This case is far from over, and with every new revelation, things look worse for her side. The Grammys, though, were a whole different story. I'm genuinely considering starting a petition to fire every celebrity stylist involved. What was up with those outfits? Did some miss the memo, or were they just thrown together last minute? Some looks were so off, it seemed like the stylist was dragged from a cleaning shift straight to the red carpet. The 2025 Grammys officially proved fashion is in chaos. Did some celebrities lose a bet? They looked like they were fighting for their lives and losing. Tragic. Every year I hope for improvement, but it never comes. Stylists just double down on nonsense. At this point, I'm convinced some A-listers are either hated or sabotaging themselves. Money, access, fashion houses practically begging to dress them. And this is what we get? Something needs to change. Fast. We need an intervention. But the chaos wasn't just about outfits. Oh no, the Grammys became a full-blown circus. Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift walked out empty-handed, looking wrecked, tears shed. And once again, Hollywood showed that Jay-Z and Beyoncé run the place like luxury rugs. People literally bowed down, letting them dominate. Just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Kanye presented his wife wrapped in what can only be described as utter delusion and desperation. It was one of the most humiliating, undignified, secondhand embarrassment-inducing stunts in recent memory. As a self-appointed fashion and image consultant with nothing but my eyes to back me up, it's my duty to call out these fashion crimes, lovingly drag their stylists, and expose these unforgivable offenses against style. Let's start with a bang. Jaden and Willow Smith are prime examples of what happens when Nepo babies can't quite match their parents' fame, so they resort to unfiltered attention-seeking. Jaden, he's got a black castle perched on his head. The Louis Vuitton suit? Cute. But all anyone focused on was the construction project on his scalp. Honestly, if carrying the weight of the world were a person, it would be Jaden. Social media erupted, reminding him he'll never be Will. And Willow, look, you can experiment in your 20s, and I'm for bold choices, but whatever is happening with her teeth, not here for it. Someone said it looks like cabbage is stuck there, and now I can't unsee it. Her hair, though, I love. Moving on, Billie Eilish always shows up like she doesn't care, and part of me wishes she did, but black and white? Classic. Cynthia Erivo, finally freed from Ariana Grande's green alphabet mess, looked incredible, ready for a medal in that underwhelming blue and silver combo. Seriously loved it. Then there's Chappell Roan, wearing a Jean-Paul Gaultier Spring 2003 couture piece. On the runway, fire. On the red carpet, she looked like a colorful haunted porcelain doll. Gorgeous speech, though. Sabrina Carpenter stunned in a satin powder blue J. W. Anderson gown with a backless silhouette and feather accents. Pure old Hollywood glamour, something Dolly Parton herself would have rocked. But the night's most blasphemous fashion statement? Kanye with his latest performance piece, also known as Bianca. While other celebrities turned heads for what they wore, Bianca went viral for what she didn't wear. She showed up wrapped like a mystery. For a moment we thought, okay, maybe she's keeping it classy, maintaining dignity. But no, she took off the coat, and underneath, nothing. At this point, I'm ready to ignore them completely. Let's stop giving them the attention they're clearly craving. Seriously, just look the other way. And get this, there were actual children at the event watching this unfold. What kind of insanity are we living in? And let's not forget, this is from Kanye, who used to shame Kim Kardashian for wearing bodycon dresses that showed too much skin. The real question here? Why? Let's talk about some of these looks. Someone needs to get Troy an iron or a steamer. Julia Fox looked like she just clocked in for the Grammys before rushing off to clean toilets at a bar. Joshua Boone, well, he clearly has a deep emotional attachment to dungarees from childhood, because I can't think of any other reason he'd want to relive that fashion trauma on the red carpet. Poppy was literally dressed like she had a hiking trip, lined up immediately after the event. Pretty girl, though. Then Janelle Monáe slayed in that Aria outfit. When you see it on the model, you realize Janelle truly brought it to life. She's always doing something different, and I'm all for it, even though she low-key looked like a train conductor. Now, let's talk about Cardi B. She stepped out onto that red carpet wearing a show-stopping sequin gown from Roberto Cavalli, and honey, she looked phenomenal. The sequins, the feathers, oh, it was on point. Do you all see the difference? Sabrina's feathers were beautiful, sure, but kind of looked like a cleaning brush next to Cardi's. That's the level we're talking about, loves. We could spend all day roasting these looks because, let's face it, the theme was chaos. But we all know the Grammys aren't about fashion, right? It's about the mess. And trust me, this year's event was a whole movie. Drama, shade, iconic wins, and some seriously eyebrow-raising moments. So, what went down? Buckle up. First up, it looks like Olivia Rodrigo and Sabrina Carpenter have finally called a truce. I know, right? The internet was shook. These two have been at odds ever since the driver's license era heartbreak anthem versus shady clapback when Sabrina dropped Skin. Fans have been waiting for this showdown, but at the Grammys, there they were, hugging it out like full-on besties. So, is the war over? Are we entering the Olivia-Sabrina peace treaty era, or was it just for show? Either way, the internet was living for it. Speaking of wins and losses, Kendrick Lamar came out on top in the messiest way possible. Y'all, he won 5 Grammys for Not Like Us, a whole diss track aimed at Drake. Imagine winning a Grammy for dragging someone iconic. Twitter was eating it up, calling him the most decorated hater of all time. Petty king behavior at its finest. Honestly, this was a spectacle I didn't want to miss. But hold up, the real jaw-dropper of the night was Beyoncé finally winning Album of the Year. That's right. Queen Bey finally snagged her flowers for Renaissance after years of being snubbed. The Beyhive was out here celebrating like there was no tomorrow, but others were questioning everything. Some are convinced the Grammys were just trying to make up for past mistakes. Let's not forget last year, Jay-Z straight up called out the Grammys for failing to give Beyoncé the award she deserved. After all the hard work, dedication, and talent she poured into her music, Jay-Z was like, how did this woman, the most awarded artist in Grammy history, not win this one? He called her missing out on Album of the Year, the biggest snub of her career. But this year, finally, the Renaissance album earned her a 7th nomination, and boom, she took it home. Of course, not everyone's thrilled. People are still questioning why it took Jay-Z's intervention for her to finally get this recognition. Meanwhile, over on the sidelines, Billie Eilish was caught on camera looking teary when Beyoncé's name was announced. Was it an emotional moment for Bey, Or was she really feeling the sting of going home empty-handed for so long? Now, let's talk about the cringe-worthy moment that had everyone's jaws on the floor. The Associated Press embarrassed Babyface live on the red carpet. This legend was in the middle of an interview when an AP reporter straight up cut him off. No transition, no. We'll get back to you. Just ignored him. The internet was not here for it, calling it rude, messy, and downright disrespectful. Even though the reporter